whose deadly encounter with police sparked outraged cries of systemic racism.
My name's Elijah McClain. I was just going home.
Elijah's mother, Shanine McClain, is sharing her battle to get justice for her son in her first live interview. CPAC. GOP heavyweights and rising stars made it clear that former President Trump is the golden boy of CPAC as they echoed some of his favorite targets.
Dr. Fauci is wrong a lot.
I objected during the Electoral College certification. Maybe you heard about it.
And AOC is telling us she was murdered.
Before Trump took to the stage to hint about his plans for 2024.
I may even decide to beat them for a third time, okay?
But will this loyalty backfire on Republicans?
If we idolize one person, we will lose.
And Women's History Month is in the spotlight on View Your Deal. Here come Hot Topics with Whoopi, Sarah Haynes, Joy Behar, Sunny Austin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
Well, hello and welcome to The View. Megan is not here today. Now, over the weekend, the biggest names in the GOP met in Orlando, Florida for the pep rally of conservative propaganda known as CPAC, which also provided a glimpse into the future of the Republican Party. Take a look.
I gotta say, Orlando is awesome. It's not as nice as Cancun.
The liberal media have tried to cancel me, censor me, expel me, shut me down, stop me from representing the people of Missouri, stop me from representing you. And guess what? I'm here today. I'm not going anywhere.
Dr. Fauci, he told me that on my worst day, I'd have 10,000 patients in the hospital. On our worst day, we had a little over 600. I don't know if you agree with me, but Dr. Fauci is wrong a lot. The best is yet to come.
Oh, my God. It's so strange, you know, that, it's, the theme was supposed to be America uncanceled. But I'll start with you, Sonny. What emerged for you?
Well, the theme for me was the Trump Insurrectionist Party, right? I mean, it was so clear that this is still the party of Trump. It's the MAGA party. It's the Insurrectionist Party. It's the QAnon Party. It was unbelievable. The reception that the, twice impeached, disgraced one-term president got from this crowd. He has this iron grip on the Republican Party. They even had a gold statue of the former president, and people were almost bowing down. I mean, historically, biblically, that didn't work out for folks. I was really surprised also, Whoopi, in terms of how this is still the party of super spreader events, still the party of anti-science, anti-masking. I mean, you have someone like Governor Noem from South Dakota who is touting her results. I mean, there are more deaths. A state like that is, so spread out, not as populated as other states, has suffered so many COVID deaths. And to sort of tout the response from the governor's mansion, I thought was just appalling, just shocking. And again, this disparaging of Dr. Fauci, someone who has dedicated his life to saving other people's lives, to studying infectious diseases. I don't understand where the Republican Party is coming from or where they think they are going. It was disgusting, really.
Joy, you know who hinted at that he might be running again in 2024. I can see you just thrilled with that news. What was your response?
Well, first of all, I didn't watch CPAC, so I have some questions. Was there a laugh track this year? Because it's really the funniest show on television. And I thought CPAC is perfect because C stands for cult, I've never seen people working so hard to worship the God that is the Donald Trump. I don't think that he will run again in 2024, unless he does it from Rikers Island. I mean, it's interesting what happened in the world this week. Nicolas Sarkozy, who used to be the president of France, has just been convicted and now he's under house arrest for a year. Berlusconi, who was the president of Italy for a while, he also was arrested, convicted, and put on house arrest. So there's a precedent set in the world. It's not like, oh, we can't imagine a former president under arrest. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And Cyrus Vance has got some plans for him, and Letitia James has some plans for him. But I didn't really have to watch CPAC because I know what they do. Don't wear a mask. By the way, don't wear a mask because it doesn't work. Have you noticed, Whoopi, that there's very little flu this year? Why is that? Because people were wearing masks. That's why. They'll say that science is a lie. They attack Fauci. Trump won the election and other lies. And also one more thing on the cancel culture. The people who are getting canceled are Republicans by other Republicans. You know, Liz Cheney was canceled by the Josh Hawley wing, and Adam Kinzinger is being canceled. So they're canceling each other. You see, they're eating each other now. It's fascinating to watch. Right. And if I may do one turtle story, I once saw a thing about how when turtles are in one of their aquariums, and they start to run out of food, or some people go on vacation and forget that they have turtles there, the turtles start to eat each other. And that is what is happening in the Republican Party. It's turtles eating each other up. So...
Wow, that's a visual I really don't think I needed this morning, but okay.
Yeah, you do need that.
Sarah, what... Sarah, you know who made up for a lot of time, I guess, out of the spotlight with an hour and a half long speech. Did you happen to catch any of it?
No. And right now I'm having a hard time getting past the turtles and people being on vacation story that Joy left me with. Thanks for dropping that there. But no, I did not watch it. I read a very detailed transcript of former President Trump's words, and not surprised at what this all was. I'd forgotten how much gaslighting goes on, though, in those speeches. He has you so confused by the time you're done. You don't know which way is up or what is true. There were so many lies, misinformation. Interesting what Sunny was saying about the South Dakota governor, Noem, because South Dakota is the second highest per capita case rate of COVID-19. So I think she's assuming nobody does the math, and that will work. But I also don't understand when Dr. Fauci became the punching bag, because it seems to be a Republican talking point that Dr. Fauci needs to, there's so much wrong with Dr. Fauci. And I remember a meme when this all first started that if the numbers don't turn out as bad, it's because we did everything right. And we haven't. We've lost, 500,000 people, and it's awful. But scientists are doing their best to guess and predict. And so when numbers don't add up, I don't understand why we throw people under the bus for that reason. But one other thing that I found interesting about former President Trump's speech is he talked about the unity in the Republican Party and how it remains, and they're not going to start a new party. They're not divided. But he did take the time to rattle off 17 Republicans' names like a blacklist to the cancel culture that Joy just mentioned, that they now have targets on their back. So it was a lot of running in circles. But by the time I got done, I remembered why I don't like the feeling of watching these things, because it was gloom and doom. There was no hope. It was dark. The world is ending. Run to your bunker with canned goods. It was just, I'm glad it's gone for now and that I don't have to watch it.
Yeah. Well, the most extraordinary thing for me was if the last 4 years had been making America great again, then, why are they talking about doom and gloom? Because you know who's been out for the last 36 days. So it couldn't have been that great to get that messed up so fast. And the other thing was, how many of those people are going to get the vaccine? Maybe if they all opt out, other people who actually need it may be able to get it. Because if you're telling me that the vaccine is wrong and Fauci's wrong, then I assume none of you are lining up and hoping to get that vaccine. But maybe I'm misunderstanding the point of what CPAC was trying to say. But that happens often. We'll be right back.
Still ahead, spanning the globe. From rethinking the red carpet to some questionable categories and other long-standing controversies.
There are no black members of the Hollywood Foreign Press.
Do the co-hosts think the Golden Globe Awards have a place during a global pandemic? This week, The women bring their views to the hottest topics happening now.
That's what I'm talking about.
That I can't wait to see.
Plus, Grammy-winning artist Her, viral YouTube stars Tim and Fred Williams, a performance from Brad Paisley, the one and only Guy Fieri, and the hilarious Catherine Hahn are all coming to the most-watched #1 show in daytime, ABC's Still Ahead, only on The View. Elijah McClain's mother is live to talk about her mission to hold officers accountable for the police-related death of her son.
Hey, welcome back. The Golden Globe Awards were held last night, and they had to do things quite differently because of the pandemic. Did anybody watch that? Did you watch it, Sarah?
I didn't. I can't watch a pandemic version. Like, the award show are so amazing to me. They're aspirational. I love curling up on my couch, stuffing my face while everyone else squeezes into beautiful fashion-forward dresses, etc. And if anyone could get me to watch it, it'd be Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. But I just couldn't do it. Like, watching in the whole Zoom experience just doesn't cut it. And it was kind of like that moment in time, unlike Us Weekly, where I don't want to know the stars are just like us. Like, I need to feel like they live in Hollywood. They all hobnob together. It's a dream I have. I couldn't do it.
Right. Okay, Sonny, what about you? The lack of diversity, I guess, in the Golden Globes was a reoccurring theme last night. Did they address it? Because I'm not sure what they were talking about, because there were quite a few actors of color and people of color, but I think they were more talking about the lack of people in the group, the people who give out the Golden Globes, the foreign press.
Yeah, and I did watch it just. I think they did, and I did watch it just because I needed the getaway, and I love film and television, as you know, Whoopi, and this is sort of our new normal, and I kind of enjoyed seeing them in their home spaces, and I was sort of acting like room raider and checking out what was going on in the background, and Regina King even had her dog sleeping in the back, and I enjoyed that. But what they were talking about was that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association has an 87-member group that votes on these awards and doesn't have one black member. And that really says a lot. And it's not about just getting the award, right? I mean, because Whoopi, you were the first black woman to get a Golden Globe for Best Actress in Drama, and Andra Day yesterday is only the second black woman to get this award in drama. So while there have been some trailblazers, only two, you're the first one. What it's really about is, the truth that's not often discussed, as Ava DuVernay says, is that there's an economic reality for black filmmakers and actors, because people that greenlight films, that give people parts, look to these awards as a way of sort of, deciding whether or not somebody is worthy to give more work. And so when you don't have representation in the voting members, that's really problematic. And there's that gap there, and it's been there for far too long. And so you heard people like Sterling K. Brown talk about it quite eloquently, and others, because it's just something in 2021. I mean, come on.
Joy, any highlights for you last night?
Well, I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was great to see my former lover, Jane Fonda, there looking so stunning. I don't know if you recall this moment. There she is, looking gorgeous.
Whoa.
Let's see the picture of the two of us. There we go. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, let me tell you something, Sarah. Okay, she was all over me like white people at CPAC, okay? The woman could not keep her hands off of me. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
She looked beautiful.
Other than that,
It was
she
a
looks
little
beautiful.
freaky. Yeah.
She looks good. Look at her.
Well,
82 or
yeah.
something years old.
Oh,
my
wow.
God.
Yeah, she's spectacular. Well, listen, the foreign press has a lot of work to do, as does everyone who is in our industry, to make the balance happen. So we'll watch and see what happens, but at least they are bringing folks in and saying, we see your performance, which is something that wasn't happening all over the place. So we'll be right back. That's what we do.
And new View Your Deal.
Welcome back. There was mostly a virtual red carpet yesterday at the Golden Globes last night, and I feel that this was the big winner, personally. Please take a look at Tika. I feel that she had it all going on, you know. But, you know, Melissa Rivers, who has covered plenty of red carpets alongside her mom, Joan, thinks the era of red carpet may be over. I don't know, Joe. I don't think so, but I'll ask you your opinion. What do you think?
Joan would have asked that dog, who are you wearing? Who?
Well, she was the best dressed bitch at the show.
You gotta give it to her. I think she's right. And I think Melissa has a point, because, you know, there was a time when people would dress themselves, you know, and go out there and look ridiculous, and that was fun for comedians. Then they started getting, you know, Leon Talley in there and all these hotshot designers, and now they all look good, so it's not fun anymore. I don't like it.
Well, I'm glad, because, you know, everybody tried their best to look the way they wanted to, and some of that stuff was pretty rough. But you remember what's his name? Not Mr. Frederick. You remember the man who used to talk about how people looked before Joan? You know, it was quite crazy. So I don't think it's going to stop. It's in pause now. But Sarah, what's your feeling?
Yeah, I disagree with Joy completely. There's no death to the red carpet. I never liked the fashion conversation. I like to look at the fashion, but not talk about it, because I don't really know who they're talking about. I want to look at how pretty they look, and then I love the questions. I loved hearing who they were chatting with, who they saw when they'd get a little flustered or talk about their project. I loved that stuff. Some of my favorite parts of these awards show are the pre-show. So I disagree with you, Joy.
Well, you're a Star lover. I'm not. I'm interested in comedy.
I like your comedy, Joy.
Yes, Sonny.
I love fashion. I love everything about it. I love the red carpet. I was watching yesterday with an eye towards the fashion. I thought Regina King looked great in Louis Vuitton. I thought Jamie Lee Curtis in this just yellow dress was fantastic. The star of the Queen's Gambit had this custom green, fantastic cape dress. I mean, I lived for it.
Right.
And I hope it's not going anywhere. I don't think it's going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
Please don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
it's
especially
fantasy.
now,
It's gorgeous.
because, you know, right. I don't know whether y'all remember this, but March is Women's History Month, which we will be celebrating on The View all month long. And ABC News kicked off with a brand new podcast called In Plain Sight, Lady Bird Johnson, based on the book by author Julia Zweig. It's a portrait of the former First Lady in her own words, revealing how she was President Lyndon B. Johnson's closest advisor and most vital political partner. It's available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all major podcast platforms. Subscribe now, whenever and wherever you listen. And we, of course, we will be right back.
The viral footage of Elijah McClain's tragic encounter with police ignited nationwide protests against systemic racism.
I don't do any fighting. Why were you attacking me? I don't even know why.
So why haven't the officers involved faced any charges related to his death? Elijah's mother, Shanine McClain, shares her battle to change that in her first live interview next.
Welcome back. Last summer, in the wake of protests over the police-related deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, footage of a 23-year-old young man whose name was Elijah McClain, 2019 fatal encounter with Aurora, Colorado police went viral. Elijah was walking home from a convenience store when officers confronted him, placed him in a carotid hold, and had him injected with ketamine, a powerful sedative. The tragedy was caught on police body cam, and we want to warn you, because this is really disturbing, and it is incredibly infuriating. Take a look.
Stop. 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 I have a right to stop you because you're being suspicious.
No, I am an introvert. Please respect the boundaries that I am speaking. Stop. Leave me alone.
No, we're gonna talk to you.
I started to wear sync and I was stopping my music to listen. Now let go of me.
Relax. Just relax. Relax. Elijah went into cardiac arrest on his way to the hospital and died days later. Now, a scathing independent investigation found that those officers had no legal basis to stop Elijah in the first place, and that the investigation that cleared these people was flawed. Elijah's mother, Shanine McClain, is with us. She joins us now for her first live interview. And before we get into everything, last week would have been Elijah's 25th birthday. How are you and the family doing?
We're doing the best we can to hold up. We're staying busy, staying connected.
Sonny?
Well, officers were responding to a 911 call about a person wearing a ski mask and looking, quote, sketchy when they confronted your son, who was walking home from the store with an iced tea. Now, a year and a half later, an independent investigation just found that Aurora police did not have a legal basis to stop, frisk, or physically restrain your beautiful son Elijah in any way. What went through your mind when you heard that recent news?
When I got the news of the report, I had to hear it twice, so I asked my lawyer to say it again, and I immediately sat up because I didn't have any hope in the investigation at all. I thought they were going to continue to get away with murdering my son. So I started crying. It hurt that the truth had finally come out, but I was definitely glad and appreciative that it did.
So many of us were struck by Elijah's attempts to explain that he was different and an introvert during the fatal encounter. He told officers that he wouldn't hurt a fly, that they were beautiful and he loved them. He begged for forgiveness. What did you think when you saw the way officers responded to Elijah in the footage?
I saw generational hatred. You know how people talk about generational curses? I saw Elijah being apprehended by the modern-day slave world. That's what I saw. They had no reason to touch him. They had no reason to stop him. A casual conversation could have ended the whole situation peaceably. And they went totally against their own rules to put hands on my son. That was intentional, and it was set up to get away with.
Yeah, it's so infuriating, the whole thing. It's just, during the encounter, Elijah was placed in what Whoopi said was a carotid hold. And according to this new report, he was injected with a ketamine dose meant for someone who weighed 190 pounds, even though he only weighed 140 pounds. So paramedics did not even examine him before they administered the drug. Have you been given any sort of explanation for why this all happened, why that happened?
The only thing I can think of is that it probably had, I haven't been given any explanations. They have their rhetoric that they say because it's routine. But nobody's given me any justification for it at all, simply because it was illegal. You know, he wasn't in a hospital. He wasn't under medical attention. He wasn't under medical care. He wasn't being supervised. They let him lay on the ground for long periods of time, just sitting on him, you know, so everything that happened to Elijah was intentional. The academy came in just to cover up their tracks, just to make sure he couldn't survive. In the paperwork, I'm pretty sure I saw 750 milliliters of ketamine, but everybody's just referring to the 500. He was injected with 750.
Well, the 3 officers involved were never charged or even disciplined for their actions that night because prosecutors didn't believe they could prove a crime beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. That's what they say, and because Elijah's autopsy came back as undetermined. But this new report says the detectives investigating the incident stretched the record to exonerate the officers rather than present a neutral version of the facts. And that is a quote from the investigation. Did any of that come as a surprise to you?
No, ma'am, not at all. The law is set up for them to get away with murder. That's the only way to see it. You know, that's the only truth about it. They had no reason to stop him. They had no reason to arrest him. They had no reason, even after he was arrested, after they had to handcuff him, they still continued to brutalize my son. There's footage that's missing. There's bruises on his back that's not explained in the video. So everything was set up to get away with murder. They targeted my son, and they had the perfect setup by somebody calling who obviously wasn't in the neighborhood. So how are you going through somebody's neighborhood, calling the police on people that obviously live here? That was even probably a setup. It was just something to get the police involved in his life so that they could kill him. Elijah was assassinated. He was targeted, and he was murdered. And they're just trying to get away with it. Everything that happened on their side was just to corroborate their BS story.
This past summer, 3 other Aurora police officers were fired or re-signed somewhere after they were caught taking a smiling selfie, mimicking the chokehold used on your boy at the site of his memorial. We won't even show the photo because it's just despicable behavior. I can't even look at it. What I want to know from you is, has anyone from the police department apologized or expressed remorse to you over what happened to Elijah? Anyone at all?
No, ma'am. Nothing that's heartfelt. Everything's been just rhetoric. It's been a script. So no, ma'am. Even the Chief Vanessa Wilson, she expressed her concerns, but she still works for the same corporation that killed my son. So I feel like if there are any good police, they're not in that part, because you cannot keep shaking hands with evil people and say that you're not one. So no, nobody's expressed anything.
We'll have some more when we come back. We're back with Shanine McClain. Sarah?
Yeah, Mrs. McClain, Elijah has been described as a gentle soul and an artist who often played his violin for stray cats and dogs to help soothe them. What else do you want viewers to know about your son?
Elijah wasn't diagnosed with anything. He wasn't autistic. He was just a normal, well, he wasn't normal because we're all different from each other. But there wasn't anything that he had that was diagnosed and medically proven. So I want people to understand that he was not autistic. He was just different because he truly believed in humanity. It wasn't about the color of your skin. It wasn't about what kind of job you had. It was about the kindness that we showed each other. You know, he wanted to heal people through his hands. He was an artist. He was a musician. He was a runner. That's why he had on the runner's mask that night. We are all anemic in my family. So him having layers of clothes in August in Colorado isn't out of the norm. You know what I'm saying? So I just need everybody to understand that he was a regular person that was different in his own way. And that's never a target. That's never a reason to be a target just because of somebody else's lack of empathy or their ignorance.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as we know, this is not an unusual thing to have happen in this day and age. And I wonder if you feel that given all of the crying out that we've been due for our kids, for our brothers and sisters, whether you see any hope in here. Do you think people may just start to be listening now?
I think they're starting to listen. I think it's going to take a lot more, though, because there's so many people that are still trapped in the old way of thinking and the old way of doing things. It's hard for people to relinquish control when they realize they truly didn't have none in the first place. So it's the whole illusion of who they were that they need to get away from so they can truly accept everybody else. Because we're not going anywhere. You know, Black people are not going anywhere. People of color are not going anywhere. We deserve to be here just like anyone else. And if we could just get away from fighting over whose turn is it to have the colored crayon, or whose turn is it to be blue or red, we get so much further as humans to make this place a better world. You know, it's just, I don't know what it's going to take, but I don't have hope. Honestly, I don't have hope. I think what's happening now is just everybody's being more awoke to what's truly going on. But there's still a fight just to get human rights to be more than animal rights.
You know, there are now multiple investigations currently underway into your son's death, and you and your family have also filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city. We were just looking at footage of people holding up signs saying justice for Elijah. What does justice for Elijah look like to you?
To me, I want all of the murderers, and that includes the fire department, because if you look at their faces, they're all intent on watching it go further. Nobody's trying to de-escalate. Nobody's trying to do anything to stop my son's murder. They're all a part of it. So I want the police officers that had their hands on my son the entire time, especially Rodima. He did most of the brutalizing. You know, I want them to be in jail for the rest of their life. I mean, prison. They need to feel what it's like to be caged up and not allowed to live your life because somebody else is controlling that. That's what I want. And for everybody else that stood around and watched, they need some type of punishment also because they're an accessory to murder. The police officers, the fire department, the DA, Chief Mets. You know, there's so many people that have my son's blood on their hands. No matter how far they run, they're not going to escape judgment.
Well, I'm hoping that Merrick Garland and Vice President Kamala Harris will get involved in this because it's so clear what happened. And this is ridiculous that we're talking about this now because suddenly we got the truth. Thank you for coming here to The View. We much appreciate you coming. Keep us posted on what's going on, will you?
Yes, ma'am, I will.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. We'll be back.
Is Women's History Month, so we're kicking off the celebration by offering half-off amazing products from small businesses owned by women while supplies last. So let's get shopping with our dear friend, Greta Monahan.
So great to see you.
We're
Love
starting with
being
some sleep.
Absolutely. So great for hot sleepers like me and Max.
Yeah, Max.
Peach skin sheets have moisture wicking fabric, so they dry ultra fast, Sarah. Also, it's a lightweight athletic grade fabric designed for maximum airflow.
Great colors.
Just touch them because the softness compares to 1,500 thread count. Super luxurious instant sleep upgrade. The endless gorgeous colors are amazing, and each set includes one fitted, one flat, and 2 pillowcases.
Okay, speaking of hot and sweaty.
Exactly, no more. Smarty Pits controls underarm odor without, you're going to love this, aluminum, parabens, phthalates, and propylene glycol.
And no plastic
This is major.
packaging.
Exactly. They use a food-grade prebiotic to help nourish the microbiome on our skin. That's what makes it work. And giving back is about the heart of Smarty Pits, which I just love. Get this. They've donated over 10,000 deodorant sticks to women undergoing chemo and radiation. Amazing. So I brought you 9 options today, including the plastic-free, which I
love the plastic-free.
Okay, come on over.
Okay.
Big B, Little B's inventions are going to make you so happy because they make it easier to decrease our reliance on single-use paper and plastic. I want you to take a look at the Build-A-Straws there.
Yes.
Offer a convenient, user-free alternative to disposable plastic straws. I absolutely love them because they also double as an activity. And check out the multi-purpose Scrub Bee. This can be used, Sarah, year after year in place of loofahs in our bathrooms, but also disposable sponges in our kitchens, which is genius.
Cute.
And then the little Clean Bees help us ease up on paper towel usage. I love
use
these
these kind of things at home.
Exactly. They're soft, they're durable, and they absorb up to 3 times their weight in water. So smart.
And I built a straw. Awesome. We're good.
Come on over and check out Tea Drops. Okay. She ethically sources all of these organic teas, and also she eliminates about 20% more waste than traditional tea bags by dropping the little bag. They merge flavorful blends to create innovative tea experiences such as matcha green. You have citrus ginger. I happen to love rose Earl Grey. It's so delicious. And the kits also, check out the Boba Deluxe DIY kit.
Yeah.
You can create your own fun, unique drink and give an amazing gift.
That's such a good housewarming.
I love how they look, right? I love them. And they taste delish. Okay, Foot Nanny. Soothe your tired souls with Foot Nanny. It's a line of old-fashioned wellness that helps you achieve smooth feet every single time. These foot creams are moisturizing without ever being greasy. You can choose delicious scents like ginger, grapefruit, peach, eucalyptus tea tree, or unscented.
We've done Foot Nanny. I'm a fan. I love that.
Huge fan. Okay, Tech Candy. I have to have you see this. Tech Candy is one of my favorite tech accessories because they are not only stylish, but they work. First thing I brought you today, that's a new product, expanding phone tripod. So you can literally put this tripod up. It takes no room at all. The feet stay put, okay? And you can just talk or watch videos. It will not slide across the table of the desk. Cord Wrangler keeps your cords neat and tight over there. And check this out, Mixed Metals AirPods case. So clever because it conveniently clips to our bag, so we're not digging around.
Through your purse.
Exactly, and thinking we lost our AirPods.
Thank you so much, Greta. As always, the clock is ticking. You have 24 hours to get these amazing deals at viewyourdeal.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Vaccine.